Okay, we are live. So, good morning, everyone. My name is Sandy Vasher. Welcome to Rise and Write with Chloe and Friends. I am friends today. Chloe and I run the Word Stitch channel together, but her internet has been dying in a terrible way this month. So I'm not sure if she's going to be here or not today. It's possible she won't be. Either way, we are going to do a whole slew of sprints this morning. So hopefully you can grab some coffee, grab your laptop, and get going with us. Our first sprint will be at 8:05 a.m. If you are here, let us know what you're working on today. I'm always interested. I speak like we because usually Chloe is here co-hosting with me. I just made up a new word right there. So I am always happy to hear what it is that you're working on today. As for what I am working on today, so my nano has been completely derailed by a project that I'm trying to publish by November 24th. So since I only have 11 days left before my self-imposed but highly important deadline, I have a lot of editing and proofreading to get done still, and also some book formatting, and I am audio recording each of my chapters as I go. So I am going to be working on that today, although first I'm going to be working on getting myself some coffee. Good morning, Erin. The first sprint will be 10 minutes long. After that, we do 15-minute sprints, although because I don't have a co-host right now, we would normally do 10-minute breaks, but nobody wants to listen to one person babble for 10 minutes. So I'm going to do 5-minute breaks today, so there will be 20-minute sessions, unless Chloe shows up, in which case we'll get legitimate breaks. So 10 minutes is the answer, followed by 20-minute sprints. Let me put that in the chats. 10-minute sprint first, 15 to 20 minutes, depending on if I have a co-host after. And that we run until 10 a.m. So you should be able to get in a decent amount of time here this morning, including our warm-up. Let's see here. So what else? So this is the end of the second week of Nano, basically, right? Like we're about 2 days away from it being over. So this the second week, not all of Nano. So this is kind of important if you are doing Nano. Now, like I said, I sort of had to drop my Nano project for the sake of something I'm trying to publish this month. But in past years, I have found that at this point in time, if I am not writing every single day, then I'm in trouble. So hopefully you are writing every single day. Oh, hey, look, I do have a co-host. Good morning, Chloe. How are you?
Good morning. Sorry, I tried to log in immediately when you sent the link, and then I was like, oh, I should change my avatar to something more seasonally appropriate. And somehow that turned into a complete disaster. You'd think it'd be like a 2-second fix, but no, it took 5 minutes.
That's okay.
Good
You're
morning. If I vanish at some point, it is because Comcast has finally arrived. We had to actually make a dang appointment, but here we are.
Wow. Yeah. So you're going to be dealing with real internet problems today, because when they have to come out to fix things, that's an issue.
The thing is that I don't think I do. I think somebody just was a real effing lazy and didn't finish the job. So when we called, they're like, well, we're going to send a tech out so they can walk into your house. I'm like, no, they don't need to walk into my house. They just need to lift the line, replace the line that's lying across the road because it no longer works, and put it in the air where it belongs.
Oh.
I feel like they're going to get out here and they're going to be like, what the hell?
Perhaps.
And I had to pull friend cards in Comcast corporate to get them to come out here today. Yeah. So again, like I feel like a bunch of people have been chewed out and they're gonna get here and they're gonna be like, why was this not just finished yesterday?
You know what? Let's all hope that that's exactly what it is, because that would mean it was an easy fix and
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
that.
I mean it's storm damage, you know? It's not I know it's super dumb that we had to go through all of this to do it, but Comcast, yay.
Comcast, yay. Okay, it is 8:05, so we should
Yes,
start our first thing. Um,
absolutely.
so I have prompts today. Today's prompt is: a stranger gives your MC, your main character, a useful gift. So 10 minutes, everybody. We'll see you back after that. Sorry about that.
I figured you were at least being
Kind of.
productive.
Yeah, kind of. I was trying to get breakfast made, and that did not happen very well. Okay. Gotta shut the door to my office. All right. So I got like
You got
nothing
breakfast.
writing wise done.
Did you actually get breakfast?
No, I did not. I did not finish breakfast. I did update my Facebook profile page, which was important to me because of no good reason related to
This was
writing.
not your baby page. This was your personal page.
Yeah, it was my birthday today.
A lot of people go into that page today, so if you need to update something, nip it in the bud. Also, what a terrible day to have your birthday.
Why? What's
Friday the 13th in 2020, and you've got a baby due in 2 weeks.
Oh no, that's good luck. I I was born on a Friday the 13th. So
okay.
Yeah, so my best birthdays are always the Friday the 13th. They're never
awesome.
I know. I have
that Friday the 13th is actually like it's one of those Christians effing over the pagans by taking a good pagan thing and making it a terrible thing.
Oh, and I mean, I do think Friday the 13th have I don't know, some powers, some mystical powers. And I have really weird luck. Like the kind where it's like only ever really phenomenally good or like really phenomenally bad. It never falls in between there. So I mean, it has been a really weird year for me. So arguably I've had like a lot of real unlucky things happen beyond normal 2020 apocalypse, right? And then like I've also had some really good things.
Such a weird year because I feel like everybody has had a lot of crazy stuff happen outside of like the actual 2020 craziness, and it's stuff that like was way more dramatic than what happened in 2019 or 2018.
Yeah. I think whenever somebody has a disaster this time, like this year, it's like a worse disaster than otherwise would have been. So it's like it's not like you just have a tree fall in your yard. You have 2 trees fall, and it knocks out a woodshed, and it takes your internet out for 2 weeks. Like
also, remember that time that Ken had a vasectomy and then knocked up his girlfriend?
For that.
What the hell?
Something like that could happen. Yeah, right.
My buddy Sarah, her husband's aunt just died yesterday, and they think her grandmother is going today. Like, what the hell?
That's sad.
Mm-hmm. One of them is COVID, the other is cancer. The COVID, ironically, this is her grandmother just got COVID and isn't doing well. The woman got leukemia 5 years ago and is like decided not to get treatment because Sarah's almost my age. Sarah's almost 40. And so her grandmother has got to be, around 90, if not significantly over 90. So she decided not to get treatment. This was 5 years ago, and the leukemia never grew. Or I don't even know if grow is the right term with leukemia because I know it's in the blood, but it never got worse. And now COVID's gonna probably take her.
Oh,
But the other one was like 60-year-old with cancer.
yeah, no, there's I wish I didn't know people who had these stories, but I do. I feel
Mhm.
like yeah, right. But I mean, so I mean, I have this baby, which I'm super excited about because it's been 8 freaking years of infertility treatments, and um, then the baby has like a crazy birth defect. But for that crazy birth defect, we're actually doing pretty well. So, yeah, like that kind of thing
And you
is
could get real lucky with it that it's a surgery that like the baby isn't good enough of health and everything else that they can fix it relatively quickly.
I mean, even if they can't fix it relatively quickly, we could be lucky enough that he comes home relatively fast and they just
That
fix
too.
it in a year or something, which would be fine. We don't he can be they call it unrecovered, like he can come home unrecovered or
Right.
unrepaired. Not
Yeah,
unrecovered,
yeah.
unrepaired is the right word for it. Um,
I
but I
like
mean,
that it is. I like when you said those two words, I was like, I mean, unrecovered is the politer way of saying it, but I wish it was unrepaired and it is unrepaired.
yeah, yeah, it's actually unrepaired. Yeah, yeah. But I mean, that kind of thing, you don't God, like we did not see that coming. But for having it have arrived, there are worse I don't know. Like I've been saying it's like the worst lottery ticket and then also like the best of the worst lottery tickets.
Yes.
So I think there's and
And
I
thank
don't feel
God
like
that we're in a time where this is something that you knew about in advance. And it's
yeah,
something that they have a lot more technology now to address it. They like this, yeah. Thank
it's
God this is happening now, not 20 years ago.
oh yeah, or like 100 years ago, right? Like in the whole course of
That's
human history,
true. I mean,
you know?
100 years ago, though, not to be that guy or anything, but 100 years ago, you'd be like, I'm just gonna have another.
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, well, let's not get into that, right? Because I've dealt with infertility. 100 years ago, I would be just in a complete
Oh, that's true.
mess.
100 years ago, you wouldn't be having this baby to begin with. You'd probably be like, not 100 years ago. If we go back like 300 years, you'd just probably be burned at the stake for being a witch because you couldn't get
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say that's probably
pregnant.
exactly right. Yeah, so I'm really lucky, and I was born on a Friday the 13th, and I consider these things all connected. Um, in any case, uh, so did you get some work done that time?
I got a little bit. I'm going to be writing during our sprints today. I finished that read through on Hazel yesterday, which ended up being 37 errors. A couple of them were just like ishy word choice and ishy punctuation, but there were also several that were like terrible errors.
Mm,
But I did that. I got them all fixed. I got their files updated. I haven't sent them to Amazon yet for the obvious reason of me being on this phone right now. But yeah, so I got all that done. I am working on the second book from the Alien series now. Just to like keep having the word count go up on Nano because unfortunately I did not hit 50K before I finished the first book. So I'm doing those now. And then after that, I'm going to start my editing on Verity.
so you are doing well, and you're doing well, and it's 8:25.
Yeah.
So let's see how everybody
Daniel,
else
when
is
you
doing.
come back, I've
Yeah.
got a doctor question for you.
Oh, that's interesting.
It's totally a becoming a doctor question, not an actual medical advice question.
It's possible I'll have some information.
You should. It's real basic.
Okay. So
I'm your
everybody
your
else.
brother. Yeah.
Right, right. All right, so let's start writing. 15 minutes starts
Okay.
now, and our prompt is an enemy returns to threaten your MC. Okay. I am back, and Comcast just arrived for Chloe, so I'm not sure if she is back yet. She could be dealing with that whole, um, get the internet back in my house thing. So let's hope for her sake that that is what is going on. And for your sakes, if you're with us, hopefully you are getting in some writing. I managed to finish creating that breakfast. So now it just has to cook, and then I have to grab it out of the pan. I'm doing oatmeal this morning. And then I managed to open my project, which I know sounds crazy, but at least I'm opening it and starting it. I think sometimes that's actually like one of the biggest things that writers don't understand, right? Like it's the biggest trick is like you have to open your document and start on it. And it's it can be so hard, right? To just get to the point where you're like at your desk and instead of like being on Facebook or doing whatever other thing you can come up with, which is, a bazillion things when you're a writer, you're actually in the document making some progress. So I'm feeling like that right now. I'm in my document. I am making some progress. So I think a lot of you are working on nano projects right now, which is awesome. And as I was saying before Chloe got here, this is sort of the like,
I'm kind of here.
oh, she's kind of here. So,
Yeah.
Chloe, before you showed up, I was saying this is kind of like I think you were the one who posted a like this is like a make it or break it sort of week, right? Like this is where
It
you have to
is.
decide
The second week is terrible.
it, right? Because either you're doing it or you're just not doing it.
Yeah, and it's like if you've got a bad first week, you can recover. If you got a bad third week, you can recover because you should have theoretically stayed on track for the first 2 weeks. So, but like with that second week, it's not that you can't recover from it, it's that you're most likely to quit at that point.
Yes. Sorry, I had to
Yeah.
shut my door.
It's okay.
Yes.
Also, I'm like pacing, when you know that the tech is here. So you're like waiting for them to get to the door and they're just like dicking around at their truck for 3 hours. That's what I'm doing right now.
Wow, you've been doing that for a while then too.
Yeah. Like I see him and it's not like he's sitting. I've had a lot of time watching these people lately, not just Comcast, but the power company, the gas company, all of them. They spend that like long ass time sitting in their vehicles. I don't know if they're on their phones or what. This guy's actually like doing stuff with his truck, but I still feel like he is going to come to the door at some point, and he has not yet.
Well, I hope that he comes to the door at some point.
Oh, so Sandy,
Yes.
my doctor question while we're waiting. This is exactly when he comes to the door because I'm in the middle of asking this question. So I've got this character. This is the character who's there because she did a Dr. Kevorkian. So I can't figure out like where she is in the process of becoming a doctor. Like I don't know what the actual process is of becoming a doctor after you go to like med school because I feel like she's not like she has done internships because she's done an internship on a ship like this and she would have access to like medicine, but also she's got to be fairly young and I don't know where to place her and if this is something where she's already got like licensing and stuff like that. I don't know how it works.
I mean, I don't know how licensing works. That stuff is so complicated for doctors. I do know that like after you graduate from medical school, you have your MD, so you have the title doctor. Like
So that was a very big step for me then. Okay. So that is only like oh, there he is. I am going to mute myself and you go back to what you're doing.
Yeah. Which was talking about how nano is such a slog this week. And what you do to just finish your stuff. Erin agrees with me that like just opening the project is sort of like the biggest thing. If you are struggling in this second week, like if you've gotten here and you're like, wow, this is my word count is way too low. And by way too low, I mean like you've completed 3,000 words, not 25,000. I mean, one thing you could do at this point is sort of just like chalk up your losses, right? To like 2 weeks lost and say, well, Nano's going to be 25,000 words for me. This is something I'm going to be doing at the end of the month because I realistically cannot finish everything that I want to finish this month. So I am going to, what would my husband call it? I'm going to deep six one of the little projects I plan to do this month. My dog barking per tradition. And I'm probably just going to complete one of them. So I'm not going to win Nano, but I would rather get something finished and feel like I've accomplished it than rush and get just like the words in. But that's me as somebody who's done this for a lot of years at this point. So like I have already completed several books. I think if you haven't ever completed a book, then like absolutely like getting those words in is critical. So that's something to consider, right? Is where are you in your writer game? Oh, Ayani says that she usually manages to open the document, but then doesn't do anything about it. I have done that. There's there is an app. It's called Freedom 2. I'm gonna see if I can't pull this up. This is like the best thing for me when I'm in trouble. It blocks the internet. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I can come up with a lot of ways to procrastinate without the internet. But if your problem is you've got the document open and then you're not actually in it, then you might consider blocking your internet. Like maybe not Chloe style, like perhaps not by having a tree fall in your yard, but you could use something like Freedom 2, which will prevent you from going to the internet on whatever computer you're at. You have to put it on like multiple computers if you have multiple temptations. This has worked for me some years. And probably if you're here, you are already familiar with some of the programs that can help you just get words, right? So like if you're not familiar with Write or Die, which sounds so incredibly ominous, this is great for writers who are having a hard time just like getting words down. It's essentially like I think they have an internet version and then an actual software version. And basically what Write or Die does is it opens a window that you can start writing in, like a little word processor. It's really just that, except when you start a Write or Die session, you can create like punishments for yourself for not writing. So you open the document or the program or whatever, you start writing, and you can actually set it up to do things like start erasing your words if you're not continually typing. So like Write or Die will like notice that you haven't written a new word and it will start deleting words that you have written. So you basically in like a Write or Die session have to focus hard enough that you don't destroy what work you've already done. That helped me. That got me through 2 or 3 nanos like way early on. But now I feel like it's more like I just have to know what my priorities are and I need deadlines. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, at some point, the nano deadline became less relevant because I was publishing enough books that it wasn't like as big of an accomplishment to finish that first book, right? Like I'd already done that. So that also meant it became easier not to worry about winning. And I think that when you get there, then you have to know what your biggest priority is, right? So like for me right now, it's publishing this memoir. But if it were drafting a book, then that would have to be the thing that like everything else would have to give before then. All right. With that sage wisdom given and Chloe gone and it being gone temporarily and it already being 8:50, let's go ahead and get to our next little sprint here. And this time, let's say your main character overcomes a challenge. That is your prompt. And we will start that clock now. Good luck.
I'm back.
Okay, you're back. Do you have internet
No,
now?
no, this was just the primer talk before he does the work.
Got it. Got it. Oh, good morning to Nikki and Devin. And Devin, thanks for the happy birthday. I'm 39. I'm feeling like, but you know what? I'm actually feeling kind of young. Like I feel like I've got at least half a life yet left.
I hit 39 and was like, you know what? I'm just gonna say I'm 40 now because I think 39 sounds dumb.
Oh, I've been doing this. I've been like saying things to myself like, well, I'm almost 40. And then every time I do, I have to be like, I'm not 40 yet. I need to not age myself up. Like, it's not like that year doesn't count just because it's
I thought
40.
the opposite. Like I've got all of those friends who lie about their age and say that they're younger than they are, but I don't know. I hit 39 and I was like, I'm not scared of 40. And I think 39, like, I don't know, 39 still makes you sound young, but like in a weird way. Yeah. Like
Right?
I'm really not.
Yeah.
I'm really 40. I'm still kind of in my 30s, but I don't feel like I'm in my 30s like that anymore.
I'm going to milk my 30s for as long as I possibly can. Fight that. Because I am. But okay, so you got your Comcast thing done, and did you get any writing?
No.
Not done. You got your, hey, Comcast is here. We're going to start doing things.
When I got done talking to him, there was only like 3 minutes left. So I fed the bad habit that I've picked up again since all of this disaster has happened. Was like, I'm just going to do this until time is up.
I understand. I have finished the first little part of my editing. I've got like a whole checklist of editing things to do today, but they're all like kind of small. So like it's a lot of little projects. I need to like revise 2 chapters. It's not major revisions, but like they have to get done. I need to format like 1.5 chapters. It's not major formatting, but it has to get done. I have to audio record 1 chapter. It's not a long chapter, but it has to get done. Like, so I think I'm down one of those projects so far.
I like those days though, when I have a whole bunch of small projects and I could just like check through them and feel a bigger sense of accomplishment for it.
Yes, I agree. It makes you feel like you've gotten a lot done on that day. Also, I need to make a carrot cake. That is what I'm making for my birthday cake this year.
I'm a big fan of carrot cake.
What?
I'm a big fan of carrot cake.
Oh, I love carrot
and cake. And so is Ken. Ken does not really like cake, but he likes carrot cake and he likes cheesecake. So if you've ever seen the Wookiee Barbie princess cake I made for him, it was literally like a layer of cheesecake and then carrot cake stacked on top of it.
That actually sounds amazing.
Their Publix, they haven't had it in a couple of years, so I don't know if it's gone forever, but they used to every year have they've got the LTO stuff, they've got the limited time stuff that they literally had something like that was a carrot cake that had a cheesecake that had a well in it that carrot cake was baked into. That was every bit as amazing as it sounds like it's going to be. And it's nice because I don't like that super sweet cream cheese icing, but like cheesecake is just the right amount of sweetness for me.
I don't know if I have a limit on sweetness.
I didn't used to. And then, as you get older and your palate changes, there came a point where that cream cheese icing was just too sweet for me.
Yeah, I'm definitely making some cream cheese icing today. But no, I like all the ranges. I like the cheesecake range. I like the super sweet range. The weirdest thing, I'm not a huge chocolate fan. Like I would never make myself like a chocolate on chocolate cake. I do it for my
Yeah.
husband. He loves that. But like that becomes too rich for me. And so I'm not that person. But I think that's a different kind of rich. It's a different kind of sweetness.
Yeah. So what you told me before about the doctor thing, this is funny because like you weren't able to give me a whole bunch of information there, but you made me realize like right before I asked you that, I had a conversation where um, the actual doctor on the ship refers to her as Ms. And and that's incorrect because it doesn't matter what like her licensing or whatever is. She finished medical school. She's a doctor. So I'm not going to have her rudely correct him because she is trying to get a job in the medic bay, but she is going to have that thought of like, oh, that wasn't the right way of addressing me, but I'm not going to be a bee about it.
I feel like that's something. I mean, like doctor licensing is so complicated. And the few times that my brother and his wife have attempted to explain things to me, I have been very confused. But I do think that's one of the things. Like I remember, I feel like they've both said things to me like, no, we are doctors. Like we graduated. We're not just residents. We're not just like interns. We're actually doctors. Get it right.
Right. No matter what you're actually doing, doctor is a term for your education, just like anybody. Like it doesn't matter what your degree is in, as long as you've got a doctorate's degree, you're a doctor, and it doesn't matter what you're doing, you're still a doctor.
I so like a few months ago, we're in a doctor's office, and Malcolm, it was like a cardiologist's office, and like in like a health system, and Malcolm referred to one of our other doctors by his first name. It's like, oh, Jeff told us this the other day, and I almost right there had to be like, are you freaking kidding me? Like that is a doctor. I don't care how like old white man club you want to be about this.
I'm
He
so glad you said that because I was thinking it, but I was going to have to pad it with like no insult to Malcolm, but
it's totally like an old white dude thing to do, right? Like
yeah.
I had this sense of like, so this is because you're in the business world and you perceive this as like, well, like we're both part of the boys club, right? So like I'm going to refer to you by your first name. Dude, it should at least have been Dr. Jeff.
Yes. And like some doctors do call themselves that way, but like
Yeah.
whatever the nurse calls that person is what I am going to call that person.
Yeah, yeah. I always wonder about like nurse practitioners and such too, because I have a lot of great nurse practitioners, and I feel like they should, I don't know, like they're in a position of power, right?
Yes.
And I am,
I also think a lot of people don't understand the amount of like, first of all, the differences in nurses and like what kind of education somebody that reaches nurse practitioner had to go through to get there.
yeah,
Like a nurse practitioner is one step from a doctor. They just chose to get there a different way.
yeah. And I always wonder like how are you respectful? Like how do you convey that respect? Like and this makes me feel like I need to say doctor because I don't know, like and it's weird, right? Because as a lawyer, I do not care if anybody calls me anything. Like I don't need to be attorney anything. Like you can
Yeah.
throw that away. But doctors are so different, so I do think it matters. So yeah, I think your character can be totally offended, even if she doesn't get witchy
Oh
about it.
yeah. She's going to be. She's just not going to say anything, but she's going to have that internal eye roll at
Yeah,
that.
yeah. It's 9:15 already, so we've got to go back to our next sprint. So I'm gonna put
Not
the
even a
timer
break
up.
this time.
Our prompt is your MC shares food with someone, maybe cake, maybe not, because they may not be allowed to have sweets, but possibly cake. All right, so let's start that timer now. Okay, we are back.
Yes. How'd you do, Sandy?
Good. I think these little chapters I'm like doing edits on are a bit longer than I thought, but it's okay. I'm maybe a quarter into one of the chapters.
Sorry, I just got a
What about
random
you?
text and it's one of those, hey, it's Eric again. If your home insurance is paid out of your mortgage, blah, 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 blah. Like, Eric, I don't know who the hell you are. And I wish you wouldn't address me like that because clearly you're a computer. I got a little bit of writing done. I had to take a little break to come up with character names. Which is something that I should have done days ago. But of course, with everything going on, I just didn't do all of those things that I usually do the days before Nano begins. Yeah. And then I got hung up on something that I didn't know how to phrase right. So I was like, let me answer this text from Ken. Yeah.
Oh no. This
It
whole internet thing
has.
has
I
been
was supposed to
terrible
do
for
so much
you.
this month, and like I'm getting a lot done, but not nearly how I wanted to get it done.
Yeah, that sucks. But okay, wait. So we really should talk about some writing for at some point. And when you weren't here a few minutes ago, I was trying to give some tips on like things that have helped me when I'm really struggling to get those words, like write or die or
Yeah, what
the
is
Freedom
freedom
2 app.
too?
Are
I
there
don't. I'm
any
sorry. I'm going to
tools?
make you repeat yourself briefly, but I haven't heard of freedom 2 before.
Well, it's not a specific writing tool. It's like a manage the amount of time you spend on the internet tool.
Oh, gotcha.
So yeah. So you can sign up for an account and then basically it will firewall you from your internet on whatever device you want it to. And it's a nice app. It actually like works on like you can put it on your phone, you can put it on your tablets, you can put it on your computers. So like if I really desperately need to not be checking my social media, I will sometimes like turn that
Yeah,
thing
I was
on.
just thinking, I know me. I'll put it on my computer and then be like, well, screw it. I'll just get my phone then.
Yeah, right? Like you have to cut yourself off from all things. And I can still find ways to procrastinate. Like I can still find plenty of stuff to do.
I can still stare off into space for like 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah, but so honestly, like if I have my Scrivener open and I'm staring off into space, at least if it's open and I'm not doing anything but staring into space, I consider that work time. Like your brain has to process some things, like you can't just sometimes you're gonna have to think about your
Yeah.
story. That's okay.
That's one of the things that I really liked with Write or Die. And there's a few other apps that do it, but with Write or Die, if you try to stare off into space after like 5 seconds of not typing, it starts to blink at you to like stop you from doing it. And like there have been times where it's been really frustrating because like I'm just trying to figure out the word that I want to write next. But most of the time when it does that, I'm like, oh right, I know exactly what I'm doing. Like the amount of times where it's bad that it's blinking are far outweighed by the times when it's good that it's blinking.
Yeah, so I agree with you. I think and I usually have to turn on the like eat my words if I stop working thing to make that work. But
I've
it's
never had to go to that extreme. I tried it and was like, oh, I hate everything about this. Stop.
it's it's rough. But okay, but I think that only works if you're at the stage in your writing career where like your biggest struggle is getting words onto the page, right? Like if you haven't,
Yes.
been able to finish drafts, if you're that person who can come up with 80 different ways to plan your story.
I
But if
would never use it now.
me neither. Um, no, and I would totally recommend it to
Oh,
somebody
totally.
having this problem. Um, but yeah, I would never use it either. Because now I don't know, I think I have a better sense of how to get the words done. And I always feel like if I'm struggling now, a lot of times it's a plot problem. Like that
Yeah.
story sucks if I'm struggling, or but it's not a motivation problem anymore, which is interesting, right? That like you can change like that over time.
I mean, I feel like for me at least, a lot of it really is because of Nano that I've gotten as like solid with my writing habits as I have.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, like there's so much, there's so much flack that Nano gets. I don't think Nano is good for actually producing a novel, not at the beginning at least, but it's really, really good for getting you to learn more efficient writing habits. So in the beginning, just trying to get that 50,000 words, you might end up doing a whole lot of word vomit, and that's okay because you're training your brain to produce these words. And eventually, and I mean, it's not, it certainly isn't something that's going to happen over the course of a single nano, but eventually you get, you get that like figuring out how to produce 1,700 words a day. And then you start to back down and figure out how to produce like 1,000 good words a day. And then you put the two things together and suddenly you're, producing 2,000 good words a day.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I think Nano is it's absolutely like a boot camp training thing. Like you're probably not going to write your bestseller from Nano, maybe, but like it's
Not your first time around.
probably not your first time around, right? But you might learn how to write those words, and I really think like people are so hard on Nano, but then like those same people will later really struggle at times in their life when they're like very busy, right? So like they'll be like, "Oh, I just can't get anything done right now. Like I'm too anxious. I've got too much going on." Okay, but like if you trained yourself to work in 15-minute sprints, then
Yeah.
I mean, almost everybody can find I don't know that many people who couldn't find 4 15-minute segments somewhere in their
No.
day. Um,
No, it's something where it's literally, I mean, right off the bat, your first 15 minutes is just getting up 15 minutes early. And your second 15 minutes is going to bed 15 minutes later. And
yep.
that's nothing. That really does not have a big impact on you at all. Even, I mean, I'm not saying that like your first 15 minutes should be the second you wake up, unless that is what your life is. But those 15-minute pockets, they're so easy to find once you figure them out. And I don't know, like not to crap on big TV watchers, but like I feel like there's so much wasted time with doing stuff like TV and like scrolling social media and all of that that really
Oh, yeah.
you can make that 15 minutes.
Oh, I
You
mean, take off 15 minutes of your Facebook time, right? Like,
Yeah. Like
that's
it's not time that you think about having. You feel like you're running constantly all day long, but really you do have those pockets where it's a priority thing. Like if you
right.
want to find 4 15-minute pockets in your day, you can find them.
Right, right. And I mean, it's so good if you've gotten used to that style of writing too, right? Because it means you don't need an entire 2-hour chunk to sit down and focus, right? Like you're just good
Yeah.
at being like, oh, I've got 15 minutes. I better use this. Maybe I can get in 250 words. And you end your day with,
Mhm.
1,050, which is
And then
great.
even for like the time that you can't write, I mean, I know that the world is a little bit different now, so we don't have that car time, but there are always those chunks of time where you can't write because you're doing something, but your brain's not doing anything. And that's when you figure out where you're going next in your story.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. Another thing people don't take advantage of, but yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so we are at our next 15 minutes. So our prompt is your MC gets something done in 15 minutes.
Perfect.
And we will start now.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. I think I'm another quarter of the way through with my editing this morning. So that's good.
Awesome. You know, when you have somebody doing work outside your house and you don't want to be caught spying on them, but you absolutely want to spy on them, that's what's happening right now.
You're
Yeah,
spying
just
on your
wondering what's going
Comcast
on. But the
guy.
good news is that, like, the one thing he said when we were talking was he wasn't sure if he was going to have to get a bucket truck out here. He didn't bring a bucket truck. He's just got a big ladder. But he's up on that ladder now. So we are A-OK, it looks like. Yeah.
That is very good. Excellent. And so
I
you
did.
got a lot
I
of
did
observing
right.
done.
I just came out here. When I checked my time, it was like 30 seconds. So I wandered out here to spy on him. I did get some writing done though. And these characters are already like going a way that I didn't expect their personalities to go. But with my outlining technique, that's one of the things that's never actually covered in it. So I had a personality for them in my head, and that's not who they are at all.
Well, but I mean that's the fun, right? If you're kind of a
Right, an
pantser, sort of
outliner.
outliner, yes. I can't believe it's almost 10 o'clock already. So this morning session went by fast, and I did not get nearly as much done as I wanted to because of that whole breakfast debacle in the morning. But that's okay. Got the rest of the day. Looks like some of you guys did get some work done. Thank you for being here with us and working with us. So Chloe, next week
God, I
you'll have
hope
internet.
so.
So this is so are we like definitely we're running our normal thing on Monday afternoon at 3:30. In fact, I think we have a co-host. I think Nikki might be co-hosting with us, which is
Also,
exciting.
4 p.m. That was a weird thing you just did there.
Oh, you're right, because I have it in my calendar as 3:30 is what I need to be here.
Gotcha. I was like, how did she make that so much more complicated? Got it. That makes sense.
Sorry. So then the rest of the week, I am
We're
not.
going to go ahead and assume that I'm going to be doing my 3 morning shows and actually be here properly and not be the demonic gingerbread man that I switched to because holidays are changing. But yeah, I will schedule those as soon as I've got the green light here.
Okay, cool. And I think I will be at some of those. I'll probably be at Tuesdays. I don't know. Things are getting a little wild here.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anything else any other announcements we should make before we let people head out to their day?
No, I don't want to make announcements right now because my world is still up in the air.
Well, okay. In that case, thanks for participating, everyone. Hope you got lots and lots of words done. And we'll see you hopefully next week.
Yes.
Yeah? All right. I'll wave on behalf of
or another.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.